everyone, welcome to this week's video. Today I have something very exciting to share with you. In my hands, you will see the newest DeepDeepLight palette created by me in collaboration with the lovely ladies at DeepDeepLight, and it's called Museum Submersum. It's a 15 color palette inspired by the colors of the sea and sea life. And I'm really excited to share this with you. I've always loved painting fish and different type of sea animals. And when I was given the opportunity to choose colors for a curated palette, I knew that this would be my inspiration. So I'm very stoked to talk about a little bit about this palette with you today. I have also a new color developed by DeepDeepLight and me together for this palette. It's called Kelp, this beautiful olive green here. And yeah, it's all very exciting. I think it must be the 10th time I'm trying to record this video because I am very nervous about sharing this with you. It's a very personal project and yeah, I hope you like it. So I'll just get off camera now, unwrap this, and I'll be back soon. So I'm back. I woke all of the pens with a drop of water like they recommend in their packaging, and I prepared this little swatch page over here. This is a simple sketchbook I made out of Bockingford paper, and yeah, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Just sharing with you also, I'm using the DeepDeepLight number 2 synthetic Kazan brush by Tintoretto. Here we go. So for those of you that are new here on the channel, my name is Carolina and I'm a Brazilian artist living in Dublin, Ireland. And I paint mostly with watercolors. That's why I was so happy to be made ambassador of DeepDeepLight, so I could try all of their beautiful colors. And now finally getting the opportunity to create a curated palette, because I've always been very jealous of other people that had this opportunity. Good jealousy, type of jealousy, if there is such a thing. But yeah, I'm very blessed by this opportunity now. I feel very happy. So this first color is a beautiful yellow called Mirabelle or Mirabelle. Not sure how they intended to be pronounced. It's a beautiful transparent yellow, a bit more warm leaning, but I find that it can work very well as a primary yellow. And since I always like working with transparent colors when I'm using watercolor, I did the best that I could to have a selection of colors that are either totally transparent or mostly transparent, so it's easier for you to have nice mixes. That I'm gonna be talking a little bit about the inspiration for each of those colors in the palette. So this one for me represents the sunlight. Now the next one is a very nice orange called Rose Hip, and I really like this type of red leaning oranges. It's kind of a vermilion type of color, and this I was inspired by coral reefs and clownfish, and I think it can work very well also for mixes. I'm gonna share with you after I swatch these colors some mixes that I find interesting you can explore with this palette. And this color can also work in a certain way as a primary red if you would like. Very nice tone. Now we have a very bright color that maybe it's not gonna be appealing for everyone, but let me explain why I chose this one here. So this is magenta, or rosso magenta more precisely, and this color First of all, it's a great mixer. You can create beautiful mixes with this. It can work very well as a type of cool primary red. You can have all sorts of oranges with this yellow. You can also have very interesting purples with some other colors we have following. But even on its own, you would be surprised, but it's a color that you can find under the sea. If you go look at some nudibranch, which are sea snails, they have very beautiful, vibrant colors. Some of them are almost neon-like, and that's where I got the inspiration to add this frozen magenta here on the palette. You also have other animals like anemone. Not sure if I'm mispronouncing that, but you can have some anemone that have this beautiful, very bright pink tones. And it's very big, this swatch, compared to the other ones. I'm not too sure what I did here, but look, we work with that. The next one is a very beautiful blue called Deep Blue. This was one of the first colors I got from DeepDeepLight, and it's a very nice blue to have as a primary blue in the palette as well. It's transparent, it has granulation. This is PB74 pigment. It can make very beautiful mixes. And I love it. One of my favorite colors is turquoise. So you see that in this palette there's a lot of turquoise type of tones, which is intentional. I wanted to give different tones of blue, so you could use not only to paint water, but also to paint fish or to make mixes. Next blue is a bit more muted. It came into a previous collection from DeepDeepLight, and it's called Haze Blue. I believe this came in the Soul of the Oak set. That's when it first made this appearance, and it's a kind of a grayish blue, which I found it was perfect to paint fish. It works very well as a base. On top of it we can add some other colorful details, or you can use it to paint stormy skies, and why not water as well. You have a lot of blue options in this set to choose from. So next blue is a color created in collaboration with my friend Lily, that has a lovely channel here on YouTube, Lily Moon, and she had created this color for one of her palettes, and I find it a very beautiful type of turquoise color that has some color separation as well. This kind of makes me think of tropical waters or shallow natural pools. It's this turquoise that has a tiny hint of yellow, so I would say is tropical waters when they get hit by the sunlight. Now continuing, I have this tone that is more leaning towards green, I would say. It's a type of teal greenish color. It's called River, and this is one of my very favorite colors from DeepDeepLight. It has a lot of texture. I think it was one of the first ones I got from them. I was not an ambassador back then, and it took me a very long time to decide which colors I wanted to get. I was getting a few of them at a time, and this, I believe, was one of the first ones that I got. It's a very deep, muted, rich color, and I think it works very well with the other tones in the palette. You can also use it to paint water. I can see that for maybe wintry waters, a wintry scene, very deep. You can also use for mixes, and you'll see when it dries it has a very lovely texture. Now the next color is probably one of my favorites from DeepDeepLight. This together with River was the first batch that I got from them, and this is Masha's green. It's a very vibrant, almost neon type of green, yellowish green. I really love this color, and I could not include this on this palette because it's one of my most used colors from DeepDeepLight. And I like that this can also work as a sort of cool yellow in the palette, opposed to Mirabelle that I swatched earlier. And this one makes me think of Moreil's. Some anemone also have very bright green colors that you can achieve using this as a base. There's a lovely little sea snail that is called sea leaf sheep, I believe. Do Google that and you'll see it has very vibrant green colors. So you see that this set is a mix between vibrant and muted colors, but all of them have inspiration in nature. Now next we have some earth tones to balance out all of the vibrancy of the other colors. We have, first of all, light umber, which is a very nice earth tone. It has a lovely texture. And this I got into the palette because it makes me think of wet sand. It looks very rich here, but as it dries out, you will see. And the texture has granulation, it has some speckles. It looks lovely on mixes as well. Then we have acorn rust, which is also part of the Soul of the Oak set. And it's a very beautiful muted orange type of color. It's almost like a quinacridone gold type of color. It's very lovely. And this one make me think of starfish. If you want them to be a tiny more towards orange, you add a little bit of rose hip here, and you can get a beautiful muted orange for your starfish. Next, a very nice granulating, color separating type of magical color that DeepDeepLight is masterful at. This is Captain's Gray. This color, I find it hard to describe because sometimes it's more gray, sometimes it's more brown. Then you dilute it and you can see all of these other type of colors inside. And this one made me think of rusty metal, like anchors. Maybe here it's very brown, it's showing very brown, but sometimes when you dilute it, it can show all sorts of gray speckles and different tones, which I find it's very interesting for things like rusty objects. Then we have another brown, bark. This is a cooler brown. Also has a very interesting texture. It's a great mixer. I'm gonna dilute it a little bit here. And this one made me think of driftwood. Maybe part of a shipwreck floating in the sea. You are arriving at the final 5 colors in the set. Next we have Asphalt, another beautiful granulating and color separating color from DeepDeepLight. It's type of a purplish tone. In mass tone it almost looks like black, but as you dilute it you see all the magic it does have a type of purple undertone, and I found that this made me think of maybe mollusks like cuttlefish and squid, octopus. I thought this would also be great to I just got interrupted by footsteps of what I probably think it's a seagull walking on top of my roof over here, so that's funny. But as I was saying, this color I think will also be great for painting shells. When diluted, you have a lovely variation of tones that can work very well for shells or also for stones or any other natural subject. Now I'm gonna jump this color over here and swatch kelp, because silver tuff has metallic particles on it and I don't want to contaminate kelp, so I'll first swatch kelp for you, and once this is done I'll go back to silver tuff. Now is the big moment to reveal this beautiful green that I created with DeepDeepLight. I did some experimentation until I found a formula that I liked, and they brought it to life beautifully. It's a very lovely olive green tone, transparent. Like I said, I really enjoy painting with transparent colors, so it was important to me that this color was transparent, and it has a very lovely, surprising granulation as well. It's not as obvious as in other tones, but you'll see that when it dries, you'll see some dark blue particles showing, and at the same time there is a very nice yellow luminosity to it. I think it's quite different from the other greens in the catalog, and it complements them very well. And if you're like me, lover of warm greens, you will enjoy this one. After all the colors I tried, I'm gonna show you a close-up as well. That's really beautiful. I'm just not surprised now, because I confess I had received some samples before I opened the set. I could not wait, so I did try the color before. I really love this color. It's really the type of green that I love to use. And last but not least, we have silver tuff, which is metallic. It's a type of dusty rose with a silver particle. And you might ask why to include a metallic color in the set. I know some people are not fans of metallic watercolors, but I'm not one of them. I really love incorporating metallic watercolors in my paintings. I use them all the time. I usually use them for final details. It can be, I don't know, some little detail on a flower or on a bird's wing. And I thought that for this set, because it's based on sea life, it would be perfect to add some sparkle into maybe a school of fish, or if you mix it with the blues, you can add sparkle to the waters. You can use it to paint beautiful jellyfish, for example. So there's a lot of things you can do with this color here. I would advise though to be careful when you are using it. Maybe use it with a separate brush and use in a separate water jar, because as I said, the particles will get mixed with the other color. So what I usually do when I'm painting with metallic watercolors, I leave it for the last touch, and then this way I keep my other colors intact. So here you have all of the colors together on the palette. Don't they look pretty? I'm gonna let them dry now, and day is getting a bit shadowy at the moment, a bit cloudy. So what I'm probably going to do is let them dry for today, and then come back tomorrow where I'm gonna show you not only the dry swatches, but I'm gonna show you also some interesting color mixes you can do with this palette, some color palettes as well, and maybe if you have time we'll paint a little fish with that. See you soon. Hi everyone, so it's a brand new day. I have all my swatches dried here. I'm gonna show you quickly. I have the impression I let a drop of water on the Masha's green, so I got this little stain over here, but you can see how gorgeous these are. The deep blue, very granulating. The haze blue, very moody, grayish blue. Water lily also has lovely granulation. River and Masha's green, super vibrant. The silver tuff that can give some little oomph to your paintings. Most of all, if you're painting fish, this will be very fun to play with, to add some sparkly bits onto your fish or even into the water. And finally we have here Kelp, my new color, with this lovely olive green tone, and I hope you can see here there's some very dark blue speckles because it has PB74, which is deep blue, so you can use it together. While I was waiting for this to dry, I went ahead and I painted a few color palettes. First one I have Silver Tuff and Haze Blue. Very simple. I mentioned before I really like limited color palettes, so 2, 3, 4 colors max. So that's what I did here. And then I have also Silver Tuff, Asphalt and Rosso Magenta, which would work also very nicely because Silver Tuff has this muted pink undertone, and then Rosso Magenta is also pink, and Asphalt has this violet. And I think this is a very modern color palette because you have the metallic here and you also have very dark, medium tones, so it works very well. Then a classic for me, love it, the contrasting blue and orange with deep blue and rose hip. Cannot go wrong with that. You can use them as they are, and you can also mix them to get in between tones to use together, that will get you some nice neutrals. Similarly, we have here River and Masha's green, which here fresh from the pan, it's looking more yellow than green, but for me it looks great like this as well because it kind of gives me the vibes of lemon. So we have like this lemonish yellow with the teal of River over here, one of my favorite combinations as well. Then we have here 4 colors together that work well as well. We have River, Kelp, Bark and Rose Hip. This is a very natural color palette. It's kind of a orange grove type of color combination. You have greens and orange and the muted brown, so cannot go wrong with that type of palette as well. What else? Here I did a complementary palette of greens and reds, so you have River and Kelp, and then Rosso Magenta and Silver Tuff. Also a very modern take on the complementary palette because you have the metallic and the kind of a neon of the Rosso Magenta, so it can give you some interesting results. And then a bit more traditional type of analog color palette with Water Lily, River and Kelp, also very lovely. And then finally I have here some different primary trios you can try and experiment. Also, you could also try using the rose hip as primary red, but here I played around with Rosso Magenta as the primary red. So in this one I used Mirabelle, Rosso Magenta and River for a change. I think the River adds a bit more modern touch instead of the classic blue. And here I use the deep blue, which is a bit more close to the cyan type of primary, but instead of the Mirabelle I use Masha's green, that is a bit more of this cool yellow acid green type of color, and also magenta again. So I think both of these can work really nice on their own, but you could also experiment mixing the colors amongst themselves. I know for a fact that Rosso Magenta makes beautiful purples with both these colors, and I'm gonna demonstrate here soon some of my favorite mixes with this set. And finally, I have another type of monochrome analog color palette over here with acorn rust, light umber, and bark. Very earthy toned, safe color palette, but nevertheless beautiful with the bright acorn rust to bring a little bit of color. And then you have very dark brown bark that will give you the nice contrast. So I also took the time to draw a little fish here that I will be painting with some of these colors after I do the color mixing on the side. Now let's go. I love doing color mixing, so I think now I'm gonna zoom in a little bit over here so you can see the mixes well. So let's start. First mix I'm gonna show you is using the Mirabelle yellow and, surprise surprise, asphalt. You see what a beautiful color it will give. You just have to be careful with asphalt because it can be overpowering to the yellow, so start with the yellow and add a tiny bit of asphalt to the mix, and then you can adjust if necessary. You can add a little more. It will give you a beautiful green gold type of color, which I really love. Slightly more olivey than Masha's green. Masha's green is a bit more on the green side. This is a bit warmer. And try as I may, I cannot get a good circle, so you have to be happy with this one. But you have an idea of the beautiful green you can get with this mix. And you see as it dries that you have also some type of, I wouldn't say granulation, but you will see a darker color coming to the surface of the yellow. That is the asphalt mix. And because Mirabelle is a transparent yellow, whatever color that you mix here, if it's a granulating or color separating, you will see the effects beautifully. Now, if you want a similar mix, but with more granulation, I'm gonna give you another option. Also using Mirabelle yellow, but you could experiment also with Masha's green using light umber. This gives me a kind of a mustardy type of yellow. And you see as the paint dries that the granulation of the light umber will come to the surface. You have this speckled look, which I really like and can look very interesting depending on the subject you're painting. They're similar tones. This one is a bit leaning more towards ochre. This is a bit more green. What else? I'm gonna try now another mix using asphalt that gives a very, very interesting result. So I'm mixing asphalt and water lily. I know these are very unusual mixes, but I wanted to explore the possibilities, and I think sometimes you can be surprised by the results of these unusual mixes. So I like sometimes to try this type of exercise and see what I come up with. And in this case, it gave me a very interesting result, and it changes. At least the first time I tried, it changed drastically from the time of painting to when the paint was dry. We'll see if I get the same result now. I'm not sure if the proportion I'm using is the same, but we'll go like this. So It's kind of a seafoam green, but a bit muted, more on the gray side. Again, my swatches are all over the place here, but at least you will be able to see well the color. And I absolutely love doing these exercises, this mixing exercise. Look how gorgeous this is. And you see when it dries, it will have some color separation. Now, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to add a little bit more asphalt, so you have here a version with more asphalt, and this one has a bit more water lily. You already see the granulation starting to appear. And usually I'm not that brave with mixing, most of all mixing colors that already are multi-pigmented, but I said, why not? Let's try. And I was really happy with the results. I was surprised, actually. Yeah, this was more like the result I got when I was mixing before. I had more asphalt, but both of them look gorgeous. I hope it's showing well on camera, but the granulation is off the charts already. Cannot wait to show you when these are dried. So now I'm gonna show you some mixes using the Rosso Magenta. For those of you that are not used to using those very bright colors as they are, you have the option to do some color mixing and tone it down. So first mix, I have Rosso Magenta and the very versatile Bark. Can give you this type of perylene violet tone, very muted, which can also be good for some sea creatures. I can definitely see this for painting an octopus, for example. And because both Bark and Rosso Magenta are fully transparent, you get a very clear mix. I'm gonna try adding a little bit more magenta so you can see also if you want to add more brightness in this mix. As you can see, you can get beautiful jewel tones just by mixing Bark and Rosso Magenta. If you like more muted colors. And look how these are looking nice together already. I'm gonna just move it a bit again. I think these already together would look very nice in a palette. And the mixes on the top here are granulating very nicely. So let's continue. I'm gonna do a bit more mixing with Rosso Magenta. Like I mentioned, you can get very nice purples with it. And one mix that I love is Magenta and River. This will give you some very, very nice purple tones. You can see this one here has more River than Magenta. And it's a very beautiful type of grape purple. I'm gonna try adding again a bit more magenta so you can see how vibrant it can get. And the sun is slowly moving towards my painting area here. So if you see a strip of sun, that's what's happening. I'm trying to get it done before it gets too shiny to record. And I'm gonna also swatch it here diluted on the side. You'll see it can give a very nice type of grayish color that will be good for shadows, for example. It's a very nice lavender type of color. And this can be a great alternative to leaving just the white of the paper if you're painting something white. As long as you add enough contrast around, it can read as white, and it's not gonna be a flat white because you get a bit of the slight granulation from river. That's a mix I always like to do. A cool red and a cool green to paint, for example, petals of flowers, of white flowers. You see when it dries, it gives a very subtle, nice color. Now I'm gonna show you some very interesting mixes for rusty type of colors, which I like. If you want to do something like a patina effect, and I thought this would be great to paint like a rusty anchor at the bottom of the sea, for example. And that's using rosehip and again river. You can get a very interesting range of browns and dark, I don't even know which type of color to describe, a bit of like a perylene green or a greenish black. Oops, I just drop a bit of the brown on the purple. We'll go with it. As it is, you wouldn't say much. It looks just like a normal brown, but you'll see when it dries, you will get all the subtle color changes. I'm gonna add a bit more river so you can get to see it leaning a bit on the greener side. Just trying to get away from the sun. And I think I'm gonna also swatch it diluted here on the side out of curiosity to see how it looks. Yeah. It's a greenish gray, almost like a Davis gray. And it has some lovely granulation as well. I managed to move my paper a bit out of the sun while we continue this exercise. And I feel like I would like to try another mix that I haven't tried yet, and so we'll see what will become. But I think I want to try mixing rosehip and haze blue. This is using more rosehip. Then I'll make another mix with a bit more haze blue. It's an interesting brown, but I wonder when it dries if you'll have some granulating effects from the haze blue. I can see on my palette the speckles of blue showing through, so it's possible that as it dries, it will have a different feel to it. Here, using a bit more haze blue, you get this interesting gray, which for sure will have some color separation. Here I'm swatching both mixes diluted. This one is already showing some color separation. So now I'm gonna make an interesting mix using the Kelp green and Captain's gray. That will give you a very dark color separating green, a bit more color separating than Kelp. A bit more muted because of the Captain's gray. So you can get all sorts of greens with this set. You have different yellows, an assortment of blues, and you can also mix with already pre-mixed greens. I'm gonna try adding a little bit more of the Captain's gray. It kind of gives this greenish amber type of color. And if you dilute it a bit more, it looks also like green earth, warm green earth. But a bit more layered because you have color separation. And finally, I'll take the chance I have the sun shining on the paper, and I'm gonna do some mixes with the silver tuff. You can see how fun it can be to use silver tuff for mixing. So first mix I'll do is silver tuff and haze blue. And this mix, surprisingly, it will give you a gorgeous silver color that is perfect for painting schools of fish. I love this mix. I hope the sunlight is helping you see how sparkly that paint is. And I also hope that this can inspire some of you to be adventurous with your watercolors and try unusual mixes like this. It's so much fun playing around with color and texture. It's like diving. That's what inspired me to put together this collection. I think there's a lot to explore in this set in matters of color and texture. You have metallics, you have granulation, transparency. Now another mix that I like, silver tuff with a blue, and I'm gonna try maybe with the water lily to see what it gives. So you have this beautiful turquoise with metallic silver showing through, which can be interesting for details on the water or on fish, like I mentioned. Now I feel tempted to try and maybe add the silver tuff to the purple mix I had done before using river and see what it gives. Why not? Wow, this color reminds me a bit of amethyst from Daniel Smith. You'll see on paper how it looks. This would be great for corals, or I don't know, maybe a sunken treasure. Really interesting. And I am tempted to do a less mix with this silver tuff, maybe silver tuff and asphalt. Let's see. I'm gonna use the very last strip of space left. It's a very interesting result. It's another silvery color. We'll see how it dries. It has also this purplish undertone because of asphalt, and also because silver tuff has also the pink linen undertone. Really be adventurous with this set and try different combinations, and you can get all sorts of effects. I think that's what I intended when I put together these colors, was to try and inspire people to explore the colors as an explorer would explore the bottom of the sea. So I hope you enjoyed this color mixing session. As you can see, the sun is full on my desk right now. So I will take a break and let this to dry. You can see that already there's a lot of granulation coming through here. It's really a granulation party over here. So for those of you that are fans of color separating, granulating colors, you will enjoy these mixes. But in any case, I'm waiting for this to dry. Once the sun has crossed over the other side, I'm gonna show you the close-ups, and maybe I'll record a separate video painting this fish with these colors. We'll see. I don't want to make a video that is too long, so it's possible I'll separate these in 2 or 3 different videos, but we'll see, and I'll be back soon. So I'm back. The sun is setting over here, but I still have some daylight to share with you the dry swatches of the color mixes I did. So you have here this beautiful green gold type of colors, mix of Mirabelle with asphalt, and then this is very similar. This is a tiny bit more on the brown side, and this is Mirabelle with light umber. Then the mixes I told you about, that they would get a lot of granulation. You have water lily and asphalt, with more water lily and more asphalt. Look at this granulation. And you have also the color separation. It's really nice, and I think this would be great for fish or for other marine creatures. Very interesting mix. I was surprised with this one. Then we have Rosso Magenta with bark. You can get this pretty deep muted purple, a bit like a perylene violet, or a bit more vibrant magenta, but still deep with dark granulation, which is very interesting. Then we have Rosso Magenta with river, which can give different tones of purple, more blue leaning to more red leaning. And I also did here the diluted version if you want to use, for example, for painting white fins. I use this mix a lot for painting petals of white flowers, and I'm not sure if you can see, there is like this color separation between the greenish of river and the pink of the Rosso Magenta, and then in the very borders you get a bit of a gray shadow. I love this effect. I think it's beautiful for flowers. Then another very interesting mix of rosehip and river. Here you have a more brown leaning with more of the rosehip, and here more of river. This gives a very interesting granulating black type of color, but then you have also a bit of the orange coming through. So I think this would be great for, like I said, rusty anchors or rusty metal or something with patina, anything in between those tones. And it can give also some diluted interesting grays. Another interesting gray is by mixing haze blue with rosehip. You can see here lots and lots of granulation, like a blue granulation and then a brown undertone. This is very interesting also for patina effects. I love these granulating mixes in these colors, in this palette. Here's another one very interesting. This is Kelp with Captain's Gray. You see It's a very earthy, more on a brown leaning olive green with a lot of texture, granulation, dark speckles. And look at this diluted. You have a bit of this dark green blue color coming through. Very, very interesting. And last but not least, you have the metallics. So this is the silver I created using the silver tuff with haze blue. Look at this beautiful silver color. This will be gorgeous for schools of fish. You can also add it to a blue, like here I added it to water lily, but you can add it to the deep blue or haze blue. Haze blue here gave more of a gray, but if you add a very tiny amount to blue like I did here, you get a sparkly blue, perfect for glistening waters. And here I added it to the purple mix I created at the top with the Rosa Magenta and River, and you get this purple with silver tones. Very nice, also lovely to paint, I don't know, sunken treasure or seashells, or why not a mermaid. And I love this mix as well. This is silver tuff with asphalt. It gives you this even more muted dusty rose type of color with the silver. So you see that it can give you a lot of different effects. And yeah, a very, very versatile palette. As you can see, you can use a lot of the colors like I showed you here as they are in different limited color palettes. You can also do some mixing. You can use them as they are and mixed in a painting that will guarantee you harmonic color palette. So there's a lot of things you can do, and I'm not sure now how long this video will be because it looks like I've been recording for a while. So I'm gonna probably just paint this fish without talking, and if the video is too long, I'm gonna share it in the different parts so you don't get too tired watching. And I hope you enjoyed it nevertheless. I hope you enjoyed this exercise of color mixing. Let me know in the comments what you think of the palette, of this way of swatching the colors and experimenting with different mixes and color palettes. I'd love to know what you think, and I'm very happy to have you here for this very special moment, and I'm very proud of this collaboration with DeepDeepLight. Do not forget that because I am an ambassador for DeepDeepLight, I have a discount code for you, Colored Carol. I'm gonna leave here on screen. You can use it multiple times, it doesn't expire, and I hope this helps you to try these beautiful, beautiful colors created by DeepDeepLight. Thank you very much for being here. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!